For years, we've all built websites with one main goal. But the rise of AI search has totally changed the game. So today, we're going to dig into why your website's job is not what you think it is anymore.
So let me just start by asking you a really direct question. Is your website still playing by an old set of rules? Because the buyer who lands on your digital doorstep today is, well, they're a radically different person than the one who showed up even just a couple of years ago.
And this slide right here, this captures the whole shift perfectly. We're moving away from the megaphone of persuasion, just shouting our message at people, and we're moving toward the compass of resolution, which is all about guiding an already informed buyer to their own best decision. This is the big idea we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so to really understand where we need to go, we first have to get a handle on where we've been. Let's take a look at the old model, which was all about one thing: persuasion.
Think about it. The persuasion model was built for a buyer who is basically a blank slate. They'd land on your site, they wouldn't know much, so your website's job was pretty clear. Educate them, introduce your solution, and build just enough trust to get them to take that one next step, like, booking a call.
And let's be really clear here. This model wasn't wrong. Not at all. For its time, it was exactly what was needed. It was a perfect match for the buyer's state of mind in a world where your website was probably their first real introduction to what you do.
But then a huge disruptive force came along, and it completely rewrote the rules of the game before the buyer even gets to your front door.
Conversational AI, modern search engines, they have fundamentally changed who that buyer is by the time they finally click on your link. Let's break down the 3 key ways their world has changed. Okay, first, that basic 101 level education about your industry, it's already done. The AI has already given them a neat summary. Second, that initial credibility check, that's already started too. Just the fact that the AI mentioned you is a kind of endorsement. And third, and this is huge, they don't arrive with a vague interest. They show up with a specific decision-making question already bouncing around in their head.
So if the buyer has changed that much, then our approach has to change too, right? And this brings us to the new model, resolution. The whole point of the resolution model isn't about starting the buyer's education, it's about helping them finish their evaluation. It's about empowerment. You're no longer trying to convince them they have a problem, you're giving them the exact tools and info they need to answer that question they arrived with. Is this the right fit for me?
I mean, this slide lays it out perfectly. The goal of persuasion is to pull the buyer toward your conclusion. But the goal of resolution? It's to give the buyer everything they need to confidently reach their own conclusion. It's a really subtle but incredibly profound shift in thinking.
And this isn't just some nice philosophical idea. There's huge commercial value here. A buyer who feels like they decided for themselves that you're the right choice is way more confident and committed. They come into sales calls ready to go, which means shorter, way more efficient sales cycles.
Okay, so that's the what and the why. Now for the really fun part, the how. What does this actually look like when you build a website? Let's walk through the 5 key structural changes you've got to make.
This infographic gives us a fantastic high-level view. Over on the left, you see the old persuasion model. Brand story, generic descriptions, one big call to action. But on the right, the resolution model. It's a guided journey with totally different parts. We're going to break down each of these 5 elements one by one.
First up, the homepage, your digital front door. The old homepage tells a story about your brand. The new homepage, though, it immediately confirms the buyer's problem. We call that trigger alignment. And it points them directly to a path that will help them answer their specific question. Its job isn't to impress, it's to orient and direct.
Next, let's talk about service pages. Traditionally, these pages just describe what you do. But in a resolution model, they're flipped upside down. They're reorganized to answer the buyer's questions first, like, is this for me? Or what would this actually look like in practice? The service description is still there, but it supports the answers. It doesn't lead the conversation.
Your content strategy has to evolve too. Instead of just cranking out articles to build authority, every single piece of content should be mapped directly to a specific question a buyer has at a key moment in their decision process. The goal isn't just getting traffic, it's about helping the buyer move forward.
Oh, this is a big one. Your calls to action. That one-size-fits-all book a call button, that's a total relic of the persuasion era. A resolution site offers a sequence of calls to action that match how ready the buyer is. Maybe they first need a calculator, then an assessment, and only then are they ready for a sales call.
And finally, number 5, and this is a real game changer, you embed tools.
Persuasion websites make the buyer do all the heavy lifting in their head. Resolution websites, on the other hand, provide interactive tools, like a little quiz or a diagnostic, that actively help the buyer figure things out right there on the page. So, it's pretty clear that these 5 changes add up to create a completely different kind of website. But here's the thing. This new site doesn't exist in a bubble. It's the final critical piece of a much larger strategic puzzle. Think of it like this. Way upstream, you're doing things to make sure the AI systems even know you exist and represent you correctly. Then, you're working on how to win that AI-driven chat. Your resolution-focused website is the final destination. It's what catches these super-informed buyers and helps them complete their journey.
You know, this quote from the source material just sums it up perfectly. This isn't about some new marketing trend or a matter of opinion. It is a necessary structural adaptation to a fundamental and I think permanent change in how people buy things. And so that brings us right back to where we started, with a question I want you to take with you. Take a hard look at your own digital front door. Is it still trying to persuade a buyer who doesn't really exist anymore, or is it truly ready to provide the resolution that today's AI-informed buyer is looking for?